rowing to shore, one oar, one stand-up paddleboard paddle that we're trying not to bend or damage too much rowing with it. But hopefully, fingers crossed, our oar shows up today.
Yesterday we got referred by some friends to a dermatologist in town, and we headed up there. It was a little bit late in the day, so the doctor was gone, but we made an appointment for this morning, about 11:20 this morning. We're gonna go up there and have my little kind of, I don't know what it is exactly, maybe a mole or something on my head from an old scar, but I want to get it checked out. It's a little painful, so we thought we'd get that looked at while we're here as well. Alright, we're at the doctor. We're going to go see if he can maybe sort something out. It's going to be about 30 bucks, I think, for him to check. But we'll see if we can get that down since it's not a full body check. And we're going to go right up there. Dermatologist. I almost became one of those dead things that Hillary likes. Life and death experience is over. You got my sunnies, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And got your prescription for a cream here. Despite being home to many North American expats, as well as a major tourist destination, Zihuatanejo has managed to maintain its authentic town feel, but with many modern-day conveniences. Not very often that we get to go through the 10 items or less lane.
Alright, we're going to see if our oar showed up.
We have an oar!
Yeah, replacing the oar. Alright, we got the oar, showed up.
The oar, woohoo!
It's pretty good. It shipped out of Tijuana last night, I think. Or this morning, I'm not really sure actually, and it got down here today. So that's impressive. Let's hope the same thing happens with our aluminium tubing.
Hope so.
Definitely what we're going to miss about Mexico. Just randomly walking down the streets and there's like a block party going on.
Party and good street food.
Oh, amazing. You can smell the food, you can hear the music, obviously. You can't not hear it. Pretty sweet. Every night, this is like the happening place, like the basketball court right on the beach, which is kind of weird. But there's like basketball games going on here almost every night, sometimes till like 3 a.m. in the morning. And looks like tonight the basketball just finished a little while ago. The kids are playing at one end and there's a little fire dancing and stuff going on. But this is definitely the place where people hang out. Okay, it's finally time to start getting to work on some repairs we've got to do to this dinghy here on the side wall that kind of got pulled out while we were tied up to another dinghy out at Riviera Heados. I think you've probably seen the damage, but I'll show you. So here's our temporary oar stand that I put in, and it got ripped out of here, and this is only 1/4 inch ply. So it's kind of thinned this out, it's very flexible. It also sheared off this here So that is cracked. There's a bit of a crack back here. What we're going to do is we're going to replace a section of this part here. We're going to replace all the way down to here. So we'll look at replacing from here to here. We're also going to strengthen this by adding another sheet, a little section of 1/4 inch ply. And the thought right now is I might actually see if I can add another piece of this gunnel on the inside, just for some extra stiffening. So here's what we managed to get from the local bloke. It's pretty nice looking stuff actually. So we're very excited to get that on, and hopefully this should add some good strength to it. It's actually pretty stiff, so I hope there's a little bit of flex in it, a couple of mils. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this bit of 1/4 inch ply here, like that. It's going to get epoxied on, and we'll put those 2 gunnels on it. That's the plan. Fingers crossed. We'll see if it actually works. Done a lot of patches on this guy, and it really gets a bit annoying to have to keep on patching it. God, we'd love to make another one. I don't know, there's a lot of work that went into the first one, but we'd love to make it again in better conditions with better materials. I think if we had the better materials available now, it'd come out really good. And we would do a couple of modifications. I don't think this was really designed for the rugged use that we're putting it through. I think it was designed more to be day sailed on a lake or rowed around or used as a little sailing dinghy.
So hazy here. I don't know if it's just the humidity in the air or smoke, smog. Ty's got the dinghy up on deck working on it. We're hoping the humidity isn't too much of an issue with the resin, getting that to set. We'll see, we don't have much of an option. It's only gonna get more humid from here on out. Here in Zihuatanejo, I know at the peak of the cruising season, it is usually packed. Can be up to 100 boats here, like January, February, March. And this is kind of generally the southernmost stop for most people cruising in Mexico. We arrived after all those boats left. There's only one other boat here, right over there. And while we're doing these dinghy repairs and waiting for our aluminum pole to come down, whisker pole, kind of racing the clock. It's almost May. Technically, hurricane season can start as early as May if you get early hurricanes, so we're kind of pushing our luck here, but to wait for this pole to show up. Looks like it's probably still about a week out, the ground shipping by truck from Tijuana. So we're just really keeping our fingers crossed that it shows up undamaged so we can get that taken care of and get the heck out of here.
Kind of done, so it's quite a bit stronger now. I think we'll see in the end, I guess, but we've got an extra 1/4 bit of ply inside, which strengthened it quite a bit already when we epoxied it, and then the gunnel here, which really gives it the support with that nice wood that we got here in town, and we've double gunneled it on both sides, which I really like, and I wish that's the original plans. If we did it again, I think we would double gunnel it. It added a heap of strength to it. It also gives us something to better attach the oar stands to as well. So if we did it again, I think we'd definitely do 2 gunnels. And then we'd also now, just to be sure, we're putting some extra bolts through it, and then I'm going to bolt the oar stand through bolting it too, which should really give it a heap of strength.
Ty's finishing up the dinghy. I just put the whipping on our new oar and got a little Turk's head on there as well. So we lost the little rubber thing that we were using as our stopper so it didn't fall out of the oar lock, which obviously it still did. So went the old-fashioned route, did a Turk's head on here. Still need to do a coat of varnish on it to seal it all up so the whipping doesn't come apart. And so the Turk's head stays on there, but yeah, off to a good start. Walking up into town. Ty's got the sewing machine. We are going to bring the sewing machine into a repair shop. We found an actual Singer repair shop, and the guy was in there working on old machines, and we chatted with him. He's going to give our machine a service, and we're even going to look at replacing the motor in ours, which we have to clean almost every other time we use it just because it's so old and gunked up.
Bien, bien.
Funciona, pero a veces es muy lento y necesitamos limpiar.
Más rápido.
Sí.
A las 3.
¿Tres?
Sí. Para
Okay.
Sí, todo el motor sale en 6.50.
Sewing machine is in for a service. I believe, Hillary, the discussion sounded like 600 pesos. That was for a service and also for a new motor. And it'll be ready by 3 o'clock. So that's not bad. A few hours, which is time for us to go to the library, go to AutoZone, get some oil. And I don't know, what is 600 pesos? That's like $30 maybe? My math could be way wrong. I think it's about 30 bucks though. So that's not bad at all. Hillary's just grabbing a drink. We're gonna get in a taxi this time and go up to AutoZone. Okay, time to get some diesel oil. Got the engine running here this morning. A couple of reasons. Playing with the water maker, but as a side, the main reason I wanted to warm the engine up a little bit, I'm going to do an oil change. So we thought we'd run it for a little bit under a little bit of low, but just in about maybe I think under 1,000 RPM right now in reverse. I'm also looking at the water maker. I've still got this constant problem with this here leaking, and it shouldn't, and I can't figure out why. So this is the second one that Stu sent us down in case we had a bad one. It doesn't seem like there's a problem with it though, but for some reason it's leaking. So this is like a high pressure or a pressure relief valve that has a spring inside of it and a little valve basically that shouldn't allow water through unless it hits a certain pressure point. And we don't have that pressure in there, but it's just constantly leaking. Doesn't matter what I do to it, it just leaks. And I can't figure out why. I just took it apart and cleaned it. I'm gonna put it back in again. And the leak's coming right out of here. So it's right out of the thread from basically whatever's coming through this. There's no leak around the actual thread here. There's water somehow coming through this relief valve and forcing its way out, even on low pressure. That's what I can't figure out. And right away you can see it leaking here. And there's the high pressure pump's not on. There's a low pressure pump pumping through this right now. I have no idea why it is doing that. That doesn't make any sense. I don't get it.
This is what happens when it's time to change the oil. Everything comes out of both the cockpit lockers, making a huge mess. The way our oil is set up, we have the pump on one side and the filter on the other. So when we do an oil change, we actually have to be able to get into both the cockpit lockers, which we have huge cockpit lockers that are full of way too much, but somehow stuff that we need. It's always a project to get in there and access all that stuff. Little number 4. Ready? It's getting pretty busy in town this weekend. There is a big fishing tournament. I think for mostly like sailfish, maybe Dorado too. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it's It's a big deal in town. They give away like cars for prizes. And I don't really know what happens with all the fish after a fishing tournament, but lots of boats around. There's always lots of little boats out here. They're little like canoes, and this is the first place we've really seen them. That the guys go out paddling in and catching bait fish, I think, for when they go out fishing at night. But all day long there's little canoes out with people paddling around in them, throwing nets and doing little hand lines to catch bait fish. The next morning, the fishing tournament kicked off with a big start and hundreds of boats flying out of the bay. This was obviously a very big deal for Zihuatanejo, bringing people into town from all over the region, along with the locals, all trying to catch the biggest fish.
Today is Search for Propane Day. We're pretty sure we've got a propane. They're usually always on the outskirts of town. I think there's one that direction on our way to Gestapo and one this direction out past the airport. We're in a little Collectivo combi van for a couple of bucks, and we'll hopefully have good success. That's how easy that is. We don't need a taxi. It was, how much was it for the combi? So 24 pesos was the ride for both of us out here. That's about $1.20, something like that. Pretty darn cheap. And then we just got Phil walked up, he's ready, plugged it in, propane's good to go. God knows how legal it all is. I think our tank's expired, but don't tell anyone.
Our time in Mexico has been such an amazing experience, and it's hard to believe that this is our last stop after a year and a half here. We've absolutely loved discovering so many new places, learning about the local communities, and sharing our journey with you. We hope you've enjoyed our videos and can't wait to take you to some new places very soon. Thanks for all your support, and until next time, adios.